The Dominion Council was in chaos. The Hall of Consensus, normally a chamber of measured voices and endless protocol, now rang with shouts and overlapping transmissions. Holograms flickered across the high dais, each one a representative species, from the glistening, multi-eyed Varaxi to the crystalline Van Dominionate. Most were speaking at once, their tones panicked, defiant, or disbelieving. At the center stood a single live feed, a ship of ancient design, vast beyond scale, drifting silently in Sector Expanse 94. The Crucible of Earth. The signal had come 2 days ago. Not a broadcast, but a declaration. A short-range transmission carried by a Zentari vessel bearing Dominion ID codes. Oren Drax had delivered it himself. They watched the message again. The man's face appeared, tired, scarred, unmistakably human. Not some evolved mimic, not a distant relative. A true Terran. And his voice, deeper than the chamber's acoustics could contain, spoke with terrifying clarity. "This is Marcus Varelian, commander of the Terran fleet. We have awakened. We remember. You will too." No threat. No demand. Just certainty. The hologram vanished. Silence fell. High Chancellor Vales rose from her gravity throne, her luminescent carapace pulsing violet with suppressed fury. "We cannot allow this. Terra's return is not a political matter, it is an extinction-level threat. If that signal is real, if even one Terran warship has survived, then the balance of power is shattered." A murmur rippled through the council. Some agreed. Others whispered uneasily, unwilling to commit without proof. Ancient texts described humanity's fury, but most had dismissed those records as exaggerated, filtered through fear and defeat. Then the hall dimmed. A new feed replaced the prior image. A planet. Arrows 3. Outer fringe colony, population 2 million. It was a former battlefield during the old wars, now a neutral trade hub between sectors. The feed zoomed in on orbital traffic, then locked onto a streak of flame descending from the stars. No origin code. No drive signature. Seconds later, the blast struck the moon above Arrows 3. The entire surface fractured, its crust collapsing in on itself like a crushed fruit. The shockwave rippled out in silence, captured only by surveillance satellites moments before they were vaporized. The screen went black. Vales stood motionless. Then the words appeared across every terminal. Asterisk asterisk, this was restraint at asterisk asterisk. The chamber erupted again. Far from the Dominion capital, aboard the Crucible of Earth, Marcus stood on the command bridge with his hands clasped behind his back. The attack on Arrows' moon hadn't been a declaration of war. It had been a test. A statement. He had allowed only one battery to fire. A single tungsten rod dropped from orbit. No warheads, no saturation fire, no follow-up strike. One moment of force. His crew remained silent. Of the 12,000 warforms stored aboard, only a handful had been awakened. The ship was still warming up. But the message was clear, even asleep, humanity was not to be forgotten. The lift opened behind him. Oren stepped into the chamber, still dressed in his Zentari command uniform, now worn like a guest's coat in a foreign land. He hadn't returned to his ship. He had stayed. Observing. Watching. Or under occupation. Humanity's final act had been defiance, sending its war fleets into deep cryo, waiting in the dark until something changed. Until now. Oren's gaze shifted to the star map. Are there more ships like this? Marcus looked up. There were. Some would have failed. Others may still be dormant. But this is just the Crucible. The implication hit Oren like a pulse of static. You're not the last. Not even close. Oren stepped back. Then this isn't a recovery. It's a return. Marcus moved toward the main command throne and Saturday. The chair reacted instantly, locking into his neural imprint. Control surfaces flared, and deeper systems awakened. He inhaled. The interface linked directly to his nervous system, unfiltered command input surging through every nerve. Why did you follow the signal? He asked. I was looking for answers. A trail of ancient code led me here. I didn't expect anyone alive. Marcus leaned forward, elbows resting on the chair's dark arms. You knew enough to find us. Which means your Dominion doesn't control as much as they think. Orin hesitated. No one controls everything anymore. The Dominion is fractured. Trade species rule most of the outer sectors. The core systems are in political deadlock. But they all agree on one thing. Marcus waited. They fear the return of Terra. He allowed a long silence. Good. Are you planning to reignite the war? I'm not planning anything, Marcus said. Not yet. I just woke up. My people are dead. My home may be gone. The galaxy moved on without us. But they'll remember now. Orin stepped closer, his voice low. You don't have to do this. They don't know you. They don't remember the war the way you do. You could rebuild. Rejoin. Marcus stood again, slow and deliberate. You want peace, he said. I want truth. Then here it is. He gestured to the warship's command deck, to the vast machinery now slowly rising from dormancy. This ship isn't a museum. It's a blade. And blades remember how to cut. Orin flinched at the phrasing. He had studied Terran doctrine, blitz warfare, saturation strikes, AI-guided total conflict. But this was different. The man before him wasn't theory. He was proof that humanity had not disappeared. They had waited, like a loaded weapon under dust. Send your message, Marcus said. Go tell your Dominion we're awake. Orin blinked. You're letting me leave? You're going to be my shadow. My voice. The warning before the storm. Let them decide what to do with it. He turned his back and stepped toward the lift that led to the command vault. Orin stood in the silence of a slowly reawakening warship. Around him, crew bays lit one by one. Systems resumed function. Deep in the ship's heart, dormant AI subsystems linked with awakening targeting arrays. The ship was preparing, not for a mission, but for a purpose. Marcus, Orin called out. If you do this, it won't end. The cycle will begin again. The Terran paused at the threshold. Who said it ever ended? The lift doors closed. Alone on the bridge, Orin stared at the flickering projection of the Crucible's fleet status. One ship active. Dozens more offline. Hundreds, possibly thousands, lost or never built. But even a fraction of a Terran fleet was more than enough to change the balance of power. He opened a comms channel to the * Vigilant Whisper Star. Static greeted him at first, then the ship responded. Drax, came Alric's voice. You're alive. What happened down there? Orin's voice was quiet. History just stood up. The screen behind him shifted. A single phrase scrolled across every interface, translated into every known galactic language. *** Terra wakes. ***. Certainly. Below is *** section 3 of *** humans were just legends, until their war fleet echoed through the void **, continuing the story with a sharp narrative focus, strong character development, and expanding the central conflict, all within a 1,600-word limit. A black cybernetic implant glowing over one eye. His expression was neutral. Peaceful. Waiting. Orin's breath caught. He knew that face. It had been rendered 1,000 times across surviving fragments. The Terran warlord. The last of Earth's generals. The man who led the siege of Velran Prime. The butcher of the Argent skies. Captain Marcus Varelian. Impossible. He approached slowly, then raised his scanner to confirm the impossible. The vitals were stable. Cryogenic preservation perfect. Even after 3,000 years, the man was alive. The moment he stepped closer, the lights in the chamber flickered, and a pulse of energy rolled down the corridor. The ship had felt him. Panels lit. Systems reactivated. The floor hummed underfoot. And the pod status bar shifted from blue to yellow. Activation protocol engaged. No, I didn't authorize anything, Orin whispered. He backed away, frantically trying to shut down the scanner. The ship ignored him. The pod hissed. The frost on the glass melted away, and Marcus's eyes snapped open. They were not the eyes of a man waking from a long sleep. They were focused. Aware. He moved like a creature who had only closed his eyes for a breath. Oren froze, his weapon still holstered, his voice gone. Marcus stepped out of the pod, towering over him. The armor's joints hissed as ancient servos realigned. He glanced down at Oren, his expression unreadable. "Identify," he said. His voice was deep, metallic, with the tonal cadence of command. Oren straightened. "Commander Oren Drax of the Zentari Dominion. I'm not here to fight." I followed a signal. A distress signal. It was human. Marcus narrowed his eyes. "The Dominion still lives." "Yes. And you? You were supposed to be extinct." "I was," Marcus said. The ship systems were coming alive now. Far deeper in its hull, massive power signatures blinked back into existence. Oren could feel the gravity stabilizers shifting, long-dormant engines testing power cycles. The signal had not been a call for help. It had been a beacon. A warning. "I need to inform my government," Oren said cautiously. "You can tell your Dominion one thing," Marcus replied. Oren swallowed. "What's that?" Marcus stepped forward, eyes burning with something older than hatred. "Humanity remembers." The ship rumbled. Not an echo. Not a malfunction. A heartbeat. Behind Marcus, an enormous hologram flared to life, stars across a galactic map, with crimson dots appearing one by one. Dozens. Hundreds. Each one pulsing with the mark of Earth's ancient war fleet. Oren stared. This wasn't the last human ship. It was the first to wake. He turned to run, to transmit, to warn someone, anyone. But even as he moved, he knew it was already too late. The void had echoed once again. And the legends had returned. "Would you like to proceed with Section 2? "Certainly. Below is Section 2 of humans were just legends, until their war fleet echoed through the void written with tight narrative focus, strong character progression, and a smooth continuation from Section 1. Marcus Varelian stood at the center of the awakening ship like a god returned to a broken temple. Light flooded the ancient chamber, cascading down armored walls still bearing the scars of war. Systems whirred to life around him, flickers of long-dead energy arcing through conduits, pressure stabilizers hissing as atmosphere rebalanced for Terran physiology. He flexed his fingers, armored joints crackling with heat. The last thing he remembered was the order to initiate Protocol Ashfall. He had been dying. Now he was not. The alien who had triggered his return stood frozen near the pod chamber's exit. Marcus's gaze flicked to him, shorter, lean-boned, reptilian. Dominion officer, likely low command rank based on insignia. Not a threat. Not yet. The AI core engaged. Designation, Crucible of Earth, came the voice, calm, feminine, unmistakably Terran. Stasis completed. Partial fleet integrity at 22%. Current date exceeds mission duration threshold by 3,612 years. He let the word settle. Thousands of years. The war was long over. His war. His men, his enemies, the blood they shed, all lost to history. Only the ship had endured, carrying its last commander into the far end of silence. "Status of Earth?" he asked. "Unknown." Core connection to Solnet was severed 1,000 cycles post-seal. No recent data. So Earth might be gone. Or not. Either way, the galaxy had moved on. He turned back to the alien. "What year is it?" The officer hesitated. Cycle 4761 of the Unified Dominion Standard Calendar. Marcus nodded slowly. It matched the eye's estimate. He stepped forward, one heavy boot echoing through the chamber. "What is your name?" The officer lifted his chin. "Commander Oren Drax. Zentari species." I followed a signal. It was yours. Marcus eyed him. "You're a soldier. An explorer. Strategist by trade. I study military history." The corner of Marcus's mouth twitched. "Then you know what I am." "Yes. You're Marcus Varelian. Supreme Commander of Terran forces during the collapse. Last recorded survivor of the siege of Velran Prime." A flicker of memory rushed through Marcus's mind, Planetary shields crumbling, orbital fortresses falling in a wave of plasma and kinetic fire. Humanity had stood alone against the Dominion's betrayal. And they had bled for it. But they never surrendered. "You're not afraid," he said. Oren's pupils contracted slightly. "Should I be?" "Probably." The AI pulsed again. Central bridge systems online. Command interface awaiting authorization. Marcus didn't speak. He simply walked past the alien and toward the corridor. Oren followed, keeping a measured distance. They moved through vast arteries of the ship, each corridor more massive than the last, lined with sealed bulkheads, automated turrets, dormant drones waiting in rows like statues in a forgotten tomb. The Crucible had been built for war, not comfort. As they entered the command deck, the chamber unfolded around them, multiple tiers of dark consoles, circular in layout, with a raised command dais at the center. Stars glittered beyond the vast panoramic view, cold and unfamiliar. The galaxy had aged, but the Crucible remained ageless. "Access core systems," Marcus said. Lights blinked. A translucent interface materialized around him, listing subsystems in cascading vertical columns: reactor, shields, hangars, cloning bays, cryo vaults, weapons arrays. Only fragments were operational. Most remained in deep lock. He turned to Oren. "What do you know of humanity?" Oren paused, then spoke carefully. "Mostly legend. There are classified archives, fragments of historical warfare. Most believe humans were a fabrication, fear propaganda from the early Dominion era. But some of us knew better. You weren't just real. You changed the course of the galaxy. And then you vanished." Marcus leaned over the console, eyes scanning data readouts. "We didn't vanish. We withdrew." "To where?" He tapped the map projection. "Here. To sleep." Oren studied the display. "You had no home left." Marcus said nothing. The war had devoured their worlds. Earth had been bombarded to the edge of ecological collapse. The colonies were either again. "Certainly. Below is section 1 of the story humans were just legends, until their war fleet echoed through the void crafted as a tightly focused narrative, under 1,600 words, with strong character development and a compelling setup that introduces both protagonist and the central conflict. They called him a fanatic, a relic chaser, an academic with too much imagination. Commander Oren Drax accepted all those titles with quiet satisfaction. Let them scoff at the myths of humanity. Let them bask in their illusion of dominance. He had seen the evidence. Hidden in fractured battle logs, buried in censored records from the first collapse, it was always there, faint, fragmented, but undeniable. Humanity was real. Not a species. A force. A storm that once raged across the stars and vanished before the current empires had learned to walk in the void. Now, something had stirred again. Oren stood alone on the forward deck of the Vigilant Whisper *, his personal scout vessel built for stealth and deep space traversal. Its dark hull glided silently through the edge of a dead sector known as Expanse 94, a region officially uncharted and unofficially forbidden. The stars here were few, cold, and distant. Debris fields from ancient battles drifted like silent ghosts, cloaking themselves in radiation and time. He pressed his fingers against the translucent interface, magnifying the faint signal his ship had traced across 5 sectors. It pulsed every 3.4 hours, a simple two-tone pattern. On. Off. On. Off. To the Dominion, it was background noise, cosmic static. But Oren had studied old languages. This wasn't random. It was Morse code. The message had repeated one phrase endlessly for over 4,000 years. Still here. He tapped his comlink. "Ulrich," he said. His first officer appeared on the side panel, his scaled brow furrowed in concern. "We're still tracking the signal." "We're close," Oren replied. "Less than 1,000,000 clicks now." "Sir," Dominion Command sent another recall ping. "This mission is no longer tolerated. They're calling it a violation of the Sentry Accord." Oren didn't look at him. "Let them. I'm not turning around." A beat of silence passed. Ulrich's voice softened. You really think they're still out there? Oren leaned toward the viewport, watching a derelict hulk rotate slowly in the dark. It was the size of a small city, unmarked, its hull blackened from battle damage. No registry. No power. No movement. They were never gone, Oren said. Just waiting. The vigilant whisper coasted silently toward the relic. Automated systems ran scans, but none could identify the architecture. It was alien to Dominion records, but not to Oren. He'd seen images of similar hullwork in declassified visual logs, the kind historians pretended didn't exist. The design was smooth but brutally functional, edges sharp, every surface optimized for war. This wasn't a station. It was a ship. He initiated a docking maneuver. Magnetic clamps hissed as the scout's lower arm extended and latched onto the derelict. Power readings remained flat. No signs of life. But the Morse signal grew stronger, now emanating from just beyond the sealed airlock. Ulrich's voice crackled. You're not going in alone. I am. You're not a soldier. I'm not a coward either. Oren grabbed his exosuit, locking it over his armor-weave uniform. He checked the charge on his sidearm, just in case, and slung a scanner pack across his shoulder. Then he stepped into the docking tube and cycled the airlock. With a hiss, the inner hatch opened, revealing a narrow corridor coated in dust, motionless for millennia. His boots echoed. No lights. No movement. But something about the silence felt deliberate. Not abandoned. As if the ship itself were listening. He activated his scanner. Dust particles floated through the beam like ash. The interior was made of lead alloys no longer in use. Not even similar to anything built in the last 2,000 years. He moved deeper, passing darkened terminals and dormant turrets. The corridors grew larger, designed for beings much taller than the average Centauri. Each turn led him deeper into what felt less like a ruin and more like a tomb. Then, ahead, something flickered. A faint blue shimmer pulsed at the end of a long chamber. He stepped forward carefully. The chamber opened into a cryovault. Dozens of stasis pods lined the walls, each one filled with mist, each one dead. Except one. Its panel glowed. The pod's occupant was humanoid, though larger, broader in the shoulders, encased in matte black armor fused to his body like a second skin. His face was visible through the curved glass, pale skin, scar across his jaw.